The myth of the Crusades in modern historical narratives. The Crusades, a series of religious wars fought between the 11th and 13th centuries, have left an enduring legacy in global historical consciousness. While their immediate historical impact is well documented, the way the Crusades have been interpreted, mythologized, and wielded in modern narratives is equally significant. Over the centuries, these events have been romanticized, vilified, and appropriated to serve political, cultural, and ideological agendas. This exploration delves into the myths surrounding the Crusades in modern historical narratives, examining their origins, evolution, and impact on contemporary global discourse. Chapter 1: The Romanticized Crusades in Western Historiography. In Western Europe, the Crusades were initially celebrated as heroic endeavors, symbolic of Christian chivalry and divine mission. This romanticized image persisted for centuries, shaped by medieval chronicles, religious propaganda, and later, nationalist historiography. 1. The heroic narrative. Medieval chronicles. Chroniclers like William of Tyre and Fulcher of Chartres portrayed the Crusaders as pious warriors fighting for the liberation of the Holy Land. Their accounts emphasized the moral and spiritual righteousness of the Crusades, downplaying atrocities and failures. The Age of Chivalry. During the Renaissance and Enlightenment, the Crusades became intertwined with the ideal of chivalry. Romantic literature often depicted knights like Godfrey of Bouillon or Richard the Lionheart as paragons of virtue and courage. 2. Nationalism and the Crusades. In the 19th century, as European nations sought to define their identities, the Crusades were appropriated as symbols of cultural and religious heritage. France. French historians like Joseph-François Michaux celebrated the Crusades as a testament to French leadership in Christendom, emphasizing the role of figures like Louis IX, St. Louis. Britain. In England, Richard the Lionheart was lionized as a national hero, despite his limited time spent in England. This romanticized narrative ignored the complexities of the Crusades, including their violence, motivations, and consequences, creating a sanitized myth that persisted in popular culture. Chapter 2: The Crusades as a Symbol of Colonialism. During the era of European imperialism, the Crusades were reframed as a precursor to colonialism. This narrative served both as justification for and critique of Western expansion into the Middle East, Africa, and Asia. 1. Justification for imperialism. The civilizing mission. European powers drew parallels between the Crusaders' efforts to liberate the Holy Land and their own colonial endeavors. The Crusades were depicted as the first step in a long tradition of spreading Western civilization and Christianity to uncivilized parts of the world. Orientalist perspectives. Influenced by Orientalist scholars like Edward Said, 19th century depictions of the Crusades often portrayed the Muslim world as backward and barbaric, legitimizing European intervention in the Middle East. 2. Anti-imperialist critiques. Conversely, critics of colonialism likened the Crusades to acts of aggression and greed. Writers in colonized regions drew on the memory of the Crusades to highlight the long history of Western interference in the Islamic world. Chapter 3: The Islamic Perspective and the Crusades as a Symbol of Resistance. In the Islamic world, the Crusades have been remembered as a period of invasion and resistance. However, the way they are framed in modern narratives often diverges from medieval Islamic accounts. 1. Medieval Muslim perspectives. Medieval Muslim chroniclers, such as Ibn al-Athir and Usama ibn Munkid, recorded the Crusades as significant events but not as an existential threat. The Crusaders were often seen as one of many external enemies, alongside the Byzantines and Mongols. 2. The Crusades in modern Islamic narratives. In the 19th and 20th centuries, the Crusades were reframed as a symbol of Western aggression. Colonial context. As European powers colonized much of the Middle East, the Crusades were reinterpreted as the first wave of Western imperialism. Leaders like Gamal Abdel Nasser and intellectuals like Sayyid Qutb invoked the Crusades to rally anti-colonial sentiment. The New Crusaders. In contemporary Islamist rhetoric, the Crusades are often cited as a historical precedent for modern Western military interventions in the Middle East. The term Crusader has been used to describe Western powers, particularly during events like the Iraq War, 2003, and the U.S.-led War on Terror. Chapter 4. The Crusades in Popular Culture. The Crusades have been a recurring theme in literature, film, and other forms of popular media, contributing to the persistence of myths. 1. Literature and romance. Walter Scott's The Talisman, 1825. This novel romanticized the relationship between Richard the Lionheart and Saladin, portraying the latter as a noble and chivalrous adversary. Such depictions softened the image of the Crusades, framing them as noble conflicts between honorable foes. Modern fiction. Novels like Ken Follett's The Pillars of the Earth and Michael Jeck's The Templar series continue to evoke the romantic allure